Welcome back to the REI Marketing Weekly. It's your host, Josh Culler with Culler Media and REI.video. And today we got a special guest on the show. His name is Ryan.clark. And Ryan he's in Mexico currently, but you guys will find out he's a little bit of a, he's not Mexican, right? So just you'll see from his accent. But Ryan is actually partners with one of my good pals, Chris Kelly, who's been on the show before, also a client of Culler Media's. And I'm excited to have Ryan on the show because Ryan is actually, he's partners with Chris, but he runs a lot of their marketing and does he specializes in PPC. And when we were talking before the show, he was talking about how, some of in his past life and how he uses data and stuff like that. So I'm very, very excited and interested to hear what he's going to bring to the table on today's show and how he uses PPC in their business to bring leads in and then also close deals, but also how maybe those things cross over with, say, skip tracing or list stacking, or cold calling, texting, all that stuff. So I'm excited to hear about how he's using the data for this. And then also, obviously, we're going to run that off the back of how he's running the PPC. So Ryan, what's going on, man? Coming from Mexico, how you doing?
What should I say? My Mexican's no good, by the way, or Spanish, I should say. So, hola.
Nice.
As far as it goes, and maybe Corona, but it's probably a point right now. Probably shouldn't be talking too much about that. But yeah, how you going, Josh?
Doing good, man.
So, I think as you touched on, I'm 50% owner with Chris, and I know Chris has talked a lot about the marketing aspects before, but I think we sort of leave him to his own devices, and actually I'm the guy behind the marketing. So he's probably touched on a lot of good points there, but I think, just to give you a bit of a background about me.
Yeah, let's talk about you. So how you maybe came into the real estate game with Chris, and then you before we jumped on the show, you talked a little bit about your previous life with data mining and stuff like that. So go ahead and kind of give the breakdown of that.
Yeah, so actually my background is statistics and marketing. So I'm, I guess, one of those hybrid people at the moment, and I've been quite fortunate to find myself in that area, particularly with the way of, I guess we're in that era of big data. Everyone's got a website, everyone's got all this data floating around, but they don't know what to do with it. So yeah, my background, I've got a master's in stats, which and those seems quite boring, but then the overlay of that is the marketing component. So really using the data to inform the marketing decisions moving forward. So my background is banking and finance, but then I quite quickly I moved into risk and underwriting. So a lot of that is around segmenting data and understanding behaviors and probabilistic things. So like what's the chances of an event happening and so forth. So it started there, and then I actually moved over to London and worked for eBay. And at eBay, that's when I started to get my hands dirty within MVT, which is multivariate testing. So just to give you an example, eBay, for you and me, we'd see two different versions of eBay's website. We'd see, your buttons would be blue and mine would be red, and an image would be, I don't know, of bags on mine, and then potentially it'd be of shirts on yours. So they're constantly testing and optimizing websites. And that was my first real flavor of understanding, I guess, e-commerce and digital marketing. From there, I didn't last too long, actually. It was only about 6 months, because I sort of felt that I was just this little, I guess, guinea pig in one of those hamster wheels, sort of going around and around and just churning out massive amount of data, but not really getting much exposure to the higher end of the business. So I then moved across to The Body Shop, which is a skincare global brand, and I set up the analytics and e-commerce function there. And what that entailed was basically to where I am today. So I had a couple of guys that I worked with over the 3 years, and they were well ahead of the curve in terms of marketing attribution. And that's like sort of identifying what marketing channels are inferring change and particular buying habits on your website. And equally, they were the ones that were telling me, this is the data I need to inform this decision, Ryan. So not only I could get them the data and understand the relationships between data and interpret the data, they helped me with that output moving forward. So that was the way that marketing optimization was first realized to me. And I was like, okay, if I can learn how to make the decisions with the data and make better informed decisions, and if I understand marketing a little bit better in terms of digital marketing and become a master at that, then the data bit's, easy.
Yeah.
For other people, generally, that's the hard part, is how do you get to that lower level of data? How do you build relationships? How do you interpret and overlay statistical modeling to then make those decisions? So pretty soon I went out on my own and started my own consultancy, and I had that for 5 years, and I consulted to some of the biggest brands in the world: L'Oreal, Walgreens and Boots, Colgate and Palmolive. I mean, I'm talking a lot about skincare here, so
Down a niche.
That's not on purpose, and this face doesn't look that good for any other reason. But no, and that's, and in the meantime, Chris was over in the UK, and we just had this conversation over a beer, to be honest. I was running my own business. He was thinking about moving over to Florida, and he's like, Ryan, I've got this idea. And I'm like, yes, sweet, tell me about it. And literally that night, over a few beers, at this stage, I built websites and started, doing a lot of marketing performance for these bigger businesses. Actually, I in-housed a lot of teams. So in terms of like PPC and things, they were, L'Oreal and all those companies were going out to agencies. And I said, you don't want the agency. I'll help you build an internal team. I'll upskill and train them. And then you've got more of a focus. You're not going to be sort of handed over to these juniors. Like, the directors always promise you the world, but quite soon you don't get the continuity in terms of optimization, and they need to be actioned very quickly. And that, I guess, is the broken agency model right now, is that can you move as quick as what a company wants? But having an in-house team, there is obviously those efficiencies. So over a few beers, we sketched up this wireframe and we built it for $1,500. And I said, look, I'll set up some PPC campaigns and we'll drive some traffic. And it was just, I don't know if it was by chance or anything, but literally the first lead that we got through, I think I spent maybe a couple of $100 or something at the time. And we got this lead, and basically this guy in Arizona that wanted to sell the house to us. He had a house in Florida, and I think we purchased it for $35K or something like this, 3-bedroom condo on the river arm there in Port Charlotte, and had loads of iguanas apparently living in there and all the rest of it. And spent, I think, 20 odd K on it, and we made somewhere around 40 or 50K return on it. And we're like, is this too good to be true? Like, that little piece of marketing that I did, this website that captured it. So thinking about the synergies in terms of user flows, like attracting someone and then ensuring that we're able to capture their data, and then that next step in terms of converting it into a contract, it just seemed too good to be true. So we're like, let's just carry on with this. And we did it, to be honest, as a side hustle over the first few years. Like, I was doing it overnight, like, changing things on PPC, and I was still running my consultancy, and, that was growing astronomically, like all the big brands that I was working with. And then soon I started to realize that what we're on here is actually a massive, something quite special. Chris with his real estate side, me not knowing anything about real estate, but him being able to articulate, what are the sort of motives of sellers, and these are the areas that we want to be buying in, and all these other things. And I could, I guess, execute on those. So I guess to quickly give you a bit of a background, that's how we sort of got to that first starting block of, it was just, he saw me as a marketing guy that, understood stats, and we always had chats about, we should do something together. And then this was the key opportunity. So him with the real estate, and
so let's go ahead and go deep into the PPC, because we have we have a good amount of time here, but I want to be able to have people understand what PPC you guys are doing, because obviously there's a difference between a real estate business owner that has somebody on their marketing team that, or maybe they're outsourcing it for PPC, but they don't necessarily understand real estate. And this is a big reason why people hire me, like Chris hired me and my company to do what we do for him, because we understand real estate. We know marketing, we know real estate, and we know content marketing. Most people that are, marketers, or they have an agency, they don't know real estate. So it's really hard. And you even said it yourself. it's
Yeah.
kind of hard to learn that lingo, learn the terms and learn the jargon and stuff like that, and be able to relate directly to the motivated sellers. So how have you been able to utilize PPC from coming from your background in order to bring leads in, close deals, and get good quality people through the door with the PPC?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I think with anything, you could be the greatest PPC agency, or you could be the greatest PPC consultant in the world, but if you don't have a website that's either mobile responsive or has the right sort of consumer experience, they're not going to leave their details there. You could have this, I guess it's like trying to use an analogy here, like you could have the greatest fishing line and tackle and everything like that and throw it out, but you're not gonna catch them because you don't know, you're not hitting either the right areas, or you're not being able to capture them with the right hook. You know what I mean? So for me, it always starts off as, I think, getting a solid framework, and that is your website. You have to think about, if someone comes onto your website, what's the main goal there? And that is a conversion. It's leaving their details. So I think starting at the base point here, you need to have a website that is trackable. And when I say trackable, we track everything on our website. So what elements people click on? Do they click on the header? Do they scroll? Do they press this button? Do they press that button? Because ultimately I wanted to just get them to type in their details so I can contact them.
Okay, so this is fascinating. Hold on, I want to pause you just for a second, because I know you're moving all of this into the direction we would go, but I want to stop you there because I've never had anybody on the show that's talked about exactly what you just said. So, for instance, for me on my websites, I use a little plugin called, I'm sure you've heard of it. It's called Hotjar.
Yeah.
And it's a heat map, but it also records when people are on my website and shows what buttons they're clicking and all that kind of thing. So I know how to utilize it and use it for to innovate and critique things on my website. How are you using that information? Like when somebody comes to your website and you see the behavior that they're taking on your site, how are you, like, what are you looking at, and then how are you making those adjustments with that?
Yeah, so I guess there's two elements. You can watch like a video-based software, which is like a Hotjar, or you can use GTM, which is Google Tag Manager. Now, the reason why I would say always highlight Google Tag Manager is, without getting too technical, every element on your website has generally, the way it's been created, you hope that it's got a unique ID on it. If they've got a unique ID, I can then see that in a tool called Google Analytics. So I can see how many times per session someone has clicked on that element, equally with scrolling and everything else. So actually you use the data first, and then you watch the inferences of the videos. And the reason that you use the data is because you want a conversion. The reason why the conversion is so powerful, and if I'm saying a conversion, it might be just like leaving their address. We've got a form capture, and the first one's just leave an address. Now, once I've got a conversion on that session, and now ours might be something like, I think it's like 40 or 50% of people leave their address on ours. And then you've got a funnel, right? Like people then go, do they leave their name? Do they leave their number? Email address is the three sort of personal IDs for us. I'll then be able to see the conversion tracking on that. And that's what you pull into Google Ads to find out. And when we come back to PPC, that's how we start to find out the efficiencies, like your CPA. You can only get that if you've got conversion tracking set up on your website, which is then how you optimize all your keywords, your campaigns, your ad groups, everything else. So I would know, say if I did sell my house fast or something like that, what the conversion is on that term alone. So I'll know how many people are clicking on certain elements, and that might be just leaving the address bar. That might be 50%. Now I'm just like, need to buy a house or whatever it is, or sell a house tomorrow or something. I might only get 20% conversion on that. So actually I start now optimizing towards the sell my house fast campaign, because that's driving higher efficiencies, higher conversions, and so forth.
That's so fascinating. So like it's a lot less of like it seems like it's more behavior based. Like if somebody's coming to the site and sell my house fast is converting way higher than any other search term, that's probably because the motivation of what they're searching for is a lot different and more unique than what other people are searching for because of those lower conversion rates.
You're exactly right, Josh. And then that then starts to detail your content, because then you think, well,
Yes.
is that just that my content isn't now aligning with what these people
Mm.
have arrived on the site? There might be some missing content, or they might have not. Then there's trust. There's loads of different elements. I think there's loads of variables that we could jump into. And
Yeah, that's huge. And that's like a massive nugget. And I hope everybody caught that. So if you did not catch that, guys, go back and listen to it 3 or 4 more times until it clicks, because I know it's a little technical, but it is totally worth knowing. Because if you can look at this data that you've gathered, you spent your hard-earned marketing dollars to bring people back to your website, whether it's your landing page, squeeze page, whatever you want to call it, your full website. If you've spent all that precious time, that money to get people there, you want to know what behavior they're doing on that site, and then adjust it from there. So like he said, if your conversion rates are so much higher with one search term that's maybe sell my house fast, then push everything towards that. And I love what you said, because I love content marketing. But push all of your content, maybe shoot 3 or 4 videos that specifically talk about sell your house fast. So, and create some articles, create, everything, every bit of copy that's on your site should be geared around that search term. I love that you brought that up. Thank you so much. That was like, I've never had anybody talk about, that specifically. And that, like, I knew that was going to be a massive nugget as soon as you start saying it. So I know we're not like going deep into PPC yet, but all of this stuff has been incredible. And I'm sure this is what you use for PPC. So what are the next steps after that?
yeah, so sort of the segue from there, I guess, is that once you start to understand your data first and foremost, like
Yeah.
your conversions, this is where I'm leading into PPC.
Mm-hmm.
For every conversion, particularly within Google Analytics, you get demographic data, you get behavioral data, you get, interest data, so psychographic data, you get everything. And this is the key to this discussion right now. So I can say this is the conversion on a mobile device, this is the conversion on tablet, this is conversion on desktop, this is the conversion by this age demographic, this is the conversion by this browser. You can get everything. Interests, like what are the other interests that these people have got? Is it renting houses? Is it selling houses? Is it actually that they love travel? So you're then thinking about people going abroad. They've got secondary homes. All these certain elements. Now, what you can do in PPC is you can optimize around those areas. So I could say my mobile converts at say 60%, and actually my desktop only converts at 20%. I can then up my bid on mobile because I know that it's going to convert, and actually I reduce my bid on desktop. So my bidding starts to dictate exactly the data that I want coming through, because maybe my desktop version of my website isn't as efficient as people being on their mobile phone. They just want to leave their details. Maybe they can't get to the detail part, or there's issues with user experience, whatever that is for the interim. And we're not going to go down that route yet in terms of how to optimize websites, but in terms of optimizing your PPC, you do all that there, and that's all fed through your Google Analytics. So that point before around demographics, again, we adjust bids on people that are like 18 and younger. We don't want them, because they're not efficient for us. We're wasting spend on those people. You don't waste spend, so you can reduce your bids or not even bid on them, and then you up your bids on the areas that you are driving high conversions.
Man, that's some fascinating stuff. I think that's the things that a lot of people don't think about, right? So I always encourage people that, maybe you're bootstrapping your business because you just started or whatever it is, like you're doing your own marketing. Maybe again, you have somebody on your team that's doing their marketing, or an agency on the outside. These are all things that they or you need to be looking at, because if you're going to truly optimize your marketing, whether it's PPC or any other marketing channel, these are all the foundations of things that you need to understand. Because I always say it, guys, if you don't know your target demographic, you're not going to be able to convert them in any way, shape, or form. You need to learn all the behaviors that they take. Like you said, their interests, anything that is very relevant to who they are as a person. Your target demographic well, because those 18-year-olds, they're not even like it's not even worth marketing to them because they're probably not a homeowner, B, they're probably not motivated, they probably haven't been foreclosed on yet, and all that stuff. So like that's all stuff that's kind of irrelevant for you. And he only knows this because he's studied the data and he knows his target demographic and he knows how to market to them. So it all starts with all those foundations. Man, these have been incredible nuggets, and I wish I had more time with you, Ryan. We're going to get you back on the show and talk more about this because we barely even skimmed the surface of PPC, but the topics that you brought up were just like, I think they're gold and things that people absolutely need to hear. Is there anything else that you want to wrap this up with in terms of marketing of maybe it is PPC, maybe it is how to use data or analytics or whatever in order to market smarter or better? Just one maybe final thought with the marketing that you guys do. Do you have anything else you want to share?
Yeah, I think we if I could give you two, I've got two at the top of mind, but
Do it.
Well, the first one's just a really quick one. I think in terms of optimizing around your keywords that convert, you always get a timestamp. And when I say this, there's two levels of conversion, right? Where we've got the website lead that we get it, but then there's the behavioral mindset, and that can only be discovered when you speak to someone on the phone. Now, they are either motivated or they're not. So you can never get that out of a website. You're going to get the lead. So there's a second layer of motivation. Now, what we do is we timestamp everything. So I know that person came through sell house fast. The other one came through like sell house today. We then earmark whether it was warm or hot, whether that motivated term converted into that contract from there. So what you can start to then get is that second layer of motivation on every one of your keywords, and then optimize. You're not going to get this in analytics, but it's using your data. So outputting all your converted terms and then linking it, whether it turned into a contract or not. So that's one way to optimize your actual key terms outside of analytics and get the really firm contract buy rates on each of those terms.
And that takes some manual work, but I can totally visualize how this would be extremely valuable, because you want to make sure that the search terms that people are looking for and you're closing deals on, you want to go harder at that with your marketing.
Like they could be converting really high on your website, but do they turn into deals? Maybe not.
Yeah.
Like it's that lower level of data that you have to get to. And that's probably a real key around search terms. The second one I'll say is that everyone I know is doing these, this skip tracing and everything, but we sort of, we're very laser focused on ours. We do loads of, I'm not going to get into that today, but what you can do is use those people that turn into, I guess, warm leads again, or leads that you think that you can monetize at some stage. You can use those to build similar audiences off the back of whether it's in Facebook or whether it's in PPC, AdWords and whatever. So you're starting to like, particularly when you start thinking about display marketing and everything else, you're now starting to really optimize around the behaviors, psychographics, all those sort of things within the wider community. So it gives you a chance to again run more efficiency with your marketing.
Yes, that's huge. I tell people to do that all the time, because that data, the precious data that you've already paid for, you can utilize it for more than just skip tracing and then cold calling them. You get them through the skip tracing, but then you cold call them or text them, whatever. Use it even more, like use it on the Facebook ads or PPC or however else you can use that data. Be more creative with the data, because then you're just going to juice out the entire amount of value that you can get out of it. And I don't think a lot of people do it, and they're missing out on it. I think it's huge. I think it could be a really big asset for them in their marketing.
And I think the very last point, while just on it, is that exclude people that are converted on your website. Don't waste spend on people that keep coming back and spending $90 a click on your site. Like, so yeah, that's the last.
Pull those people out. Save some money. That's a really good. That's actually a fantastic last tip.
Yep. And using your spend. So a little trick, another little efficiency there.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's totally worth taking the half hour, 45 minutes to pull out everybody, maybe on a weekly basis or monthly basis or whatever it takes. Totally worth that, because then you could save some cash for you and remarket to people that have not converted yet. All right. So Ryan, man, I appreciate it. Just an insane amount of nuggets that have been dropped here. And man, this is some high level stuff. But guys, like if you, again, a lot of the things that he talked about here are technical things, but they're totally things that you need to be thinking about and actually take action on, implement in your marketing. So if you did not understand it, go back, listen to this show again. And then if you still don't understand it, then we'll have you connect with Ryan, which we'll have him talk about here in just a second. But Ryan, you and Chris, you guys have an event coming up. So we're recording this show the last day of November. And you guys have an event coming up in December, but that is completely sold out. So we got to talk about the next one. So you have another one coming up in January. Can you talk a little bit about that? What's going to happen in the events, how people can sign up, price points, and all that stuff.
Yeah. So, funnily enough, I think we sort of touched on it at the start that at the moment I am in Mexico. It's because I am on my way over to the States. Australian, live in London for a lot of the time, Australia, and then equally Florida at the moment. So yeah, I'm going to be here for the December and January, which is going to be, I'm really excited about. Chris has been bugging me to talk about and give away some of our marketing strategies and just how we do it. So I'll be taking you through, there's 2 days there. I know it's not completely marketing, but I think there's about 3 or 4 hours per day based on just acquisition strategies and a lot about, I'll be deep diving into how to basically build these strategies on some of the points we've talked about today. So I believe the next one's like mid-Jan. I'm going to have to probably speak to Chris and get those dates, but I know I think equally he's sort of earmarking that at the moment. But mid-Jan is the plan. Like I said, I'll be there for this one. I don't know if I'll be there for Feb. So if you guys get an opportunity and it's marketing that you want to focus on, then please come along. We do have, I think I'll share with Josh a link, but equally we do have we're actually an MVP product at the moment. So we're starting to build the website. We don't have a website, but we've got the email address, which is info@fasttrackmerealestate.com. But again, I can share with Josh and you guys can, or everyone knows Chris, I think these days. So reach out to Chris directly. I think there's a few different avenues, but yeah, we'd love to sort of see some people there. And I think, there's a lot of names that I'm starting to hear about. So it'd be nice to meet people in person as well. So,
sure. Now, is this a live event, or are you guys doing it virtual, or both? How's that working?
Yeah, it's live. We are going to be filming our first event. So I'm sure we're going to be, trying to do some webinars, and I think moving forward, obviously I'll be trying to align with these. This is all new to us, and we've had really good positive feedback. But I think the key is now, I think everyone wants to know marketing a little bit more than what Chris originally led on. So I think I'll be having definitely be joining these virtually moving forward later in the year in the times where I'm not there. But I think in terms of getting access and asking all those questions and being.
And where is this located?
It'll be in Florida, so Tampa, I believe. So
Tampa. Okay, cool. All right, guys. So I'm going to link that email address below. Can you say that email address one more time for the people that are listening on audio?
Yeah, it's info@fasttrackme real estate.
All right. So
all one word.com.
Got it. Okay, guys. So you guys make sure you email that. If you are in that Tampa area, you are going to want to attend this event in January, because Chris, if you guys aren't following Chris Kelly on all of his social platforms, we push out all of his content. Our team does Color Media. So you're going to like just an absurd amount of knowledge and wisdom and experience that comes from Chris alone. And then you top that off with Ryan and his marketing experience. And you guys, I mean, you heard it, this whole interview here. I mean, he blew my mind a couple of times. So you're definitely going to want to join that event if you are in that Tampa area. So make sure you hit that email address up and get signed up for the event if you're in that area. Ryan, it's been a pleasure, my friend. Thank you so much for being on the show. One last thing in addition to that, if somebody wanted to reach out to you personally, to, maybe connect and see, maybe if they can help you with anything, or if you can help them with anything, answer any questions that they may have or whatever, what would be the best way to get in contact with you? Are we talking Facebook, email, phone, whatever you want to give out?
Yeah, I think you I think everyone can sort of reach me on Facebook or Instagram. I think my handle on Instagram is RJN.clark, RJ, J for James, N for November, Clark, CLARK. But equally, I think they're probably the two best at the moment. We are, like I said, we are trying to get some stuff set up with these email addresses. Yeah, so I could give you my email address. I think I don't want to be.
No, that's fine. Whatever, anything that you mentioned, we'll have it linked below so people can just click that in the description. So that'd be good. So go ahead and hit with the email address if you want to.
Yeah, so it's Ryan.clark, again, RYAN.clark at crunched, K for kilo, RUNCHED.com. That's my consulting business. So we are, starting to build up the digital arm of our Florida business. So that's probably the best email address. So yeah, guys, just drop me a line. Be more than happy to sort of share some thoughts, even if it's you're wanting a little bit more information about what we're going to be discussing at this 2-day event. There's lots of pieces. I mean, I'm pulling a deck as we speak at the moment. So there's going to be lots of really great insight, and it's going to basically be able to show you how to, double down, triple down, whatever it needs to be to grow your business in terms of marketing.
Sure. Great stuff, man. Well, I appreciate it, guys. We're going to have all of that linked in the description below, so make sure you check that out. Ryan, I appreciate your time. We're definitely going to have you back again soon to talk about more stuff that you got going on, because we only skimmed the surface. So thank you for being on. We appreciate your time. We look forward to having you back again soon.
Yeah, thanks, Josh. Yeah, take care.
All right, guys, that's going to do it for today's episode. We appreciate you jumping on and joining us today. If you haven't already, make sure you have subscribed to the REI Marketing Weekly, whatever podcast platform you're listening on. If you are on Apple Podcasts, do me a huge favor. Right now is the time to head back to the homepage of the show, leave a 5-star review with your feedback. I would much appreciate that. Reach out to me if you have any questions. You can go to colormedia.com, colored spelled CULLER. Also, make sure you're following me on Instagram at The Content Ninja. And then make sure you are checking out REI.video, a place where you can film your own video content, send that raw footage over, we'll edit it, and get it produced for you in less than 48 hours, and unlimited revisions sent back to you. That's going to do it for today's episode. We appreciate you jumping on and joining us, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. See you later.